Victor Bell talks about 5.860 a 5.860 beat for Victor Bell. That's for the best. Nice one for you. And
So what I've shown you right now is my first run that I've done in this car. This is the first day, the first run, first session, stuff like that. Now as you can see in the very beginning on the first turn, instead of going inside of the cones, I went around the cones. I guess didn't look forward far enough and missed it completely. But the rest of the run, I think it went pretty good. There's a few issues, but before I talk about the issues, let me show you the last run of the first day. Now my camera setup isn't as good. I'm just using this little window, attaches to a magnet. It's not that stable. It falls down pretty easily. I was able to get a majority of it, but most of it I didn't get. But what I'm going to show you right now is the last clip, or the last session. So run 4. No. That was actually run 8. I apologize. Run 8 of the first day. Now, the next two clips that you're gonna see are, in my opinion, the best sounding cars that I've seen while racing, well, actually spectating, as I would say. The first car is gonna be a Honda S2000. Although I'm not a big fan of roadsters or open cars, I am a big fan of how they sound. And then second car is gonna be an RX-7. Just love how it looks, love how it sounds. It's just such a good looking car. Here, take a look for yourself. now that you've seen both of my runs, the first one and the very last one on the first day, let's go ahead and talk about what I think should be improved or what was the downfall of this cars. And hey, look, it's the morning now. So the first thing is I'm gonna start inside the car. The first thing is gonna be the seatbelt. When I was turning all the way with my steering wheel, I was rubbing on the seatbelt, and I developed a mark on it. So what I ended up using is just using a nice sleeve, and that kind of solved the problem on the second day. The second thing is actually gonna be right here. My gauges only display the speed and the fuel, which is not really helpful when you're racing since I don't know what my RPM is. And so when I was racing, I did only use first and second, but I still needed to know when I needed to shift to second or when I was able to downshift to first so I can optimize my time better. But since I didn't know when, I was kind of struggling with, do I shift now? Can I shift into first for more speed or more acceleration? I just did not know that. So what will be helpful to me is switching this cluster out with a RPM gauge and as well installing a shift light. And even though I'm not going to be using it that very often, it's still going to be very helpful. So let's move on to the next thing. The next issue is going to be with the rear end. If we look down in here, you can see that I absolutely have no rear sway bar. And what that caused me is that caused the rear end to not have as much grip as the front did. So what ended up happening is I ended up oversteering a bit when I turned. And so that's the second issue. Well, yeah, the second issue. The third issue is actually the tire size. When I floored it, these tires do not have the grip for the power pretty much, and these being all seasons do not help as well. This is actually why I switched from the alloys to Steelies again, because the alloys, they were 175 and these are 185. But overall, compared to my first ever autocross run, which I did in the Prius, this car did so much better. Meaning the body roll is really manageable. It brakes really nicely, it accelerates nicely, especially with being a manual, it's like really nice because you have so much control over it being an automatic. But like in the Prius, where it's like if you turn really hard, you can't control the body roll because it would just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth like 20 times before actually stopping. Versus this, it didn't have that issue. So compared to the Prius, this car is really good. Like even in its stock form, obviously I've already eliminated that in the Prius, but it took a lot. So next up is what I'm going to show you is the day 2, the first run, and then right after I'm going to show you the second run. Then we're going to talk about it a little bit and see how that goes. So in my opinion, the second day it went really fantastic. I've completed almost all of them. I think I only messed up on one run out of 8, which is like really good. And from my first day to my second day, I went from a 62 time to a 57, which that was my very last run. I was really happy with that. I could have most likely gone or made it with a 55 if I had like an RPM gauge to know where exactly to shift, since that really was my main concern and my main issue. Just had no idea when I could shift or downshift. I was really happy that I've seen what this car needs. So let's talk about that. So first of all, I need a new gauge cluster. They do exist for this car, and I will get one, as well as a shift light that I can probably put over here. So since whenever I'm racing, I'm not really looking at the gauge cluster. I'm just more focused on the road and what I need to do next. And the second issue is the rear sway bar. I don't really have one. I need one, and I'm gonna get one. I don't know when, maybe in a year or so like that, but I know for a fact that I'm gonna get some lowering springs. That's probably gonna be this year or probably in the early of next year. I'm just not sure yet as well. That's pretty much it. Other than that, I mean, yeah, I do need new tires or new wheels so I can get more grippier setup. But for now, I'll just take care of the rear sway bar and the springs. Then I'll see what to do next. But overall, I really enjoyed racing in this car. It's a really nice car, especially with these seats. They are pretty grippy. I didn't get knocked around as much. I really appreciate you guys watching, tuning in with me, seeing what the struggles I went through with this car when racing. It was really fun, and I'll see you next time.
December, bring me a dream, make him the cutest that I've ever seen.
Oh, hey, look, it's the next morning. How did that happen?